The news nowadays seems like puzzle pieces to be put together. Starting with the signs in the sky, we have news of another lunar eclipse that will be almost total and will cover the moon from Thursday to Friday. On August 27th and 28th, 2026, as reported here on G1. The greatest coverage of the moon by the Earth's shadow will be at 1:13 a.m. on Friday, August 28, 2026, when 96.2% of the lunar disk will be darkened. The observation can be made with the naked eye, without special equipment. Now, at this very moment, a real avalanche of mud and water in Nepal and Tibet is taking the lives of many people who simply had no chance to protect themselves. It was even said that there was an earthquake shortly before the avalanche started and literally swept everything away. Bridges, houses, buildings, machines, people, and anything that was in the way. They're still checking if the avalanche is somehow connected to the recent earthquake. But before we get into the details of this topic, and as you can see in the footage, the images are truly impressive. Nepal was a great example to the world of what happens when a leftist authoritarian regime reaches its peak and the population reacts. No matter the strength or size of the regime, it tends to fall. The revolt in Nepal in September 2025 became known as the Generation Z Revolt. It was a mass protest movement led by young people against government corruption and censorship on social media. The far-left government of Nepal, like every leftist and authoritarian government, began to see its own crimes exposed by the people on social media. More and more people became outraged, and more people criticized them. So the government decided to sweep the dust under the rug, just as it always did with the mainstream media. The government banned 26 platforms at once, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and YouTube, claiming, just like everyone does, including Molusco, who is doing it now, that it was to fight online crime. But the people knew that it was simply censorship of reports of corruption and criticism of the damned leftist regime itself. As if that wasn't enough to really test the people's patience, politicians' children started showing off their luxurious lifestyle. A real show of excess to see who could show off the most. And honestly, my brother, politics shouldn't be seen as a career. These guys were never top professionals in their fields or great businessmen. Most of them, as we see here, they come in completely broke and suddenly leave rich after splitting their time. That is, when they were only working in their careers, they didn't get out of trouble. But when they got into politics, strangely, they suddenly became geniuses and started managing their businesses well, even while serving the people. Obviously, this led to a political crisis, and there were intense clashes, and popular pressure led to the fall and resignation of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The protesters stormed and set fire to public buildings, including the parliament and police stations, resulting in more than 20 deaths and hundreds injured after police repression and intervention by the army, who even used live ammunition against the unarmed people. But this whole episode forced an electoral change. Nepal underwent a strong subsequent political shift in the country, with widespread new voter registration and the rise of new groups in the elections that until then had no room to participate. In other words, the opposition was finally able to come to power. It seemed like a horror movie with a happy ending. But, my brothers, it's no wonder that more and more conspiracy theorists believe that there's some kind of machine with great power to do things. Because we are seeing countries that recover, countries that try to get rid of these cursed regimes, being victims, literally, as soon as the people come to power. That's the case in Nepal. The number of deaths in the flash flood that hit the Himalayan border region between Nepal and China has risen to 157. It has risen to 157, but it's obvious that this number is very small. Just from the images you're seeing so far, my brother, you can already predict that there are many more victims there. That figure of 157 is what the police are reporting at the moment. 3 other deaths have already been confirmed by the Chinese authorities. Houses, roads, and energy projects were completely swept away by the waters in Nepal, while authorities in Tibet said they fear a large number of victims. Some people are missing in Jerome County after a landslide hit a border crossing. Initial reports indicated that an earthquake in the region may have triggered an avalanche and caused the floods, and this was stated by Nepal's own foreign minister, Shizi Kanal. He said this in the country's parliament on Wednesday, August 26, 2026. According to the local press, however, even though the connection between the earthquake and the subsequent avalanche is obvious, it is already being challenged by another theory put forward by scientists working for the Globalists. The theory of these scientists working for the Globalists is that the rock slide happened at the same time. What a coincidence! A large piece of the glacier breaks off, which is meant to reinforce that the world is warming. In other words, we are the ones to blame. It's necessary to create laws that restrict people's power, including growing their own food, producing their own food, and so on. All for the good of the planet. So they've already created this theory, and for it to work, two phenomena need to happen at the same time. And even so, the media still gives it credence, like the Brazilian media, for example, CNN. And they themselves are saying that this glacier broke off at the same time there was a rock slide. This happened at the same time. And then a mixture of ice and rocks would have been created, which quickly moved down the mountain. If it were an ordinary scientist who didn't belong to these big groups that literally dominate this planet, the media itself would say, I'm not even going to publish it because it's pure nonsense. We made a video here, and it's a shame if you haven't seen it, talking about Nikola Tesla's invention, his last invention, what became known as the death ray. Among Nikola Tesla's inventions of this kind, there is a basic principle: using the planet's own forces to generate energy. But anyone who does a little research on reverse engineering knows that if you can develop something for one thing, you can automatically, by doing reverse engineering, use that for another purpose. And then I can't say anything else. But the coincidences are right there in front of us. Nepal, the people of Nepal, faced a tough battle to free themselves from the communist regime that was strangling the people with an iron fist. As soon as things start to return to normal, as they should, a tragedy like this happens so that even China gets involved. And in this case, the Nepalese state itself ends up owing a favor to the Chinese. Some even said that the previous government in Nepal followed orders from China, that they were puppets, they were lackeys of the Chinese, and they governed the way the Chinese wanted. And now Nepal is going through all this. I ask, does this make life easier or harder for those who live as parasites, sucking the wealth of others? Tell me, my dear brother, if this seems like just a conspiracy theory or undeniable facts, that when you do even the slightest analysis, detached from any ideology, you can quickly see it? I know that at least 384 travelers, including 105 Indians, 93 Nepalese, 3 citizens of the United States, and 12 British, we're missing in the region. This information was provided by the Nepal Tourism Authority. The South Korean news agency Yonhap separately reported that about 8 South Korean citizens were also missing in Nepal. Flood alerts have been issued in the populous Indian states of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, which border Nepal, and where several rivers flow down from the mountains toward the plain, which is exactly what happens. My brothers, caused this avalanche to hit with such force. Although they are still checking whether it is connected or not to the earthquake that happened shortly before, the force of this avalanche was similar to a major earthquake. And that's exactly why it swept away everything in its path. Since it's a mountainous region, it carried many rocks with it, further increasing the destructive power of this avalanche. Let this be done here, produced by a technology we don't know yet, or by nature itself. One way or another, it's a fact, my brothers, that we are indeed witnessing what the Bible calls the beginning of sorrow. It's becoming more and more evident that so many phenomena are happening at the same time, like they are now, starting Thursday, August 27, 2022, until August 28, 2026, a total eclipse of the Earth will occur.
And do you think this is a coincidence, my brothers?
I already told you that when I was a child, the first eclipse happened, and I must have been around 10 years old or younger. They said that the next time this would happen would be thousands of years from now, at least more than 100 years.
And now, a real epidemic of blood moons, eclipses, and all kinds of signs has started, the sky changing color all over the world.
And God told us that all of this would be signs of the coming of the Son of Man. There it is, my brothers. Only those who refuse to see it don't see it.
This video ends here. I hope you enjoyed it and, above all, understood it. Nepal has become an example for the world, including for us Brazilians.
For me especially, besides all of that, it's still the land of the little marmot.
This adorable creature you're seeing there. These are the Himalayan marmots. You can only find little marmots like this in this region.
So we'll be here rooting with a lot of faith and positive thoughts so that the people of Nepal, so that the people of the Himalayas can come out safe and sound from this tragedy.
And may the little marmots remain healthy and free in their environment. God bless you, my brothers. Take care, and we keep going together, always facing the supernatural here on Ankara News. I'm out.